Hi, welcome back to my channel. So I built my dream expense tracker from scratch. And now that we can track our expenses using the smart expense tracker, what was revealed about my money? Well, it kind of scared me, right? So I built this project because of how it would, I felt like this is something I would need because I started with tracking my expenses. So I've been struggling with budgeting for years, and spreadsheets are clunky, apps can feel invasive, and I always felt like, I was missing something. So I challenged myself to build a truly custom system, and it so happened to be built with Jessica Stack. And we did not even use JavaScript, right? This isn't just about tracking numbers. It's about uncovering the truth behind our spending. And we are going to dive deep into the application side of things, input amount of expense data, and then we are going to use our walkers to expose exactly where the money actually went. So obviously, the bigger question to me and all of us is, well, will this expense tracker, this custom tracker, actually help us change our spending habits and be more financially responsible? So let's get into it. So I raised an issue on the Chastity repo. So if you remember last time, we were having trouble with extracting our expense details from images. And I mentioned that this is actually not a problem with our application. It was more of a problem on the BioLLM stack. So I made an issue saying that, this multimodal support is not working. And I also, tested it separately from the application. I made a little code snippet so we can like uh, isolate it and, see what's going on. But the output, when we try to, this is actually a sample receipt, this image.jpg, and this was the model's output. It was saying that, I can't provide a description of an image without being able to view it. So I mean, it's getting the image, but it's failing to read it. It's not being passed to the model correctly. And I made this issue sometime back, I mean, yesterday at the time of recording. And already a guy called Malita has looked into it, and I think it will be released in the next PyP version. So hopefully, well, not me, but you, if you are watching this video at a later date, you can definitely try and get this expense drop image to work. It should work completely fine once this has been resolved and released from their end. So, bummer that we could test it out for ourselves and actually track the expenses, but that's all right. We have an already smart expense tracker, which allows us not to only enter expenses manually, but we can also add it from text. And I also went a step further, to reduce the hassle of typing the expense. I did a bit of vibe coding from my end in my free time to also, take in from voice. So you can just speak it out. And I've used the speech functionality from this window, the browser window method. And now if I just speak it, it will transcribe the text, and you can, if it needs to be changed or modified, you can modify it, or you can just simply add the transcribed expense into our expense tracker. So let's get into it. So what I did was I've got a sample set of expenses for December, and we are going to just go on and add these one by one. So I'm going to add a few expenses. Let's try the manual entry. So this today's video will be more about showcasing what we have built using the Jessica stack. So 6.95 at Starbucks. This is the category. So let's say food, merchant is Starbucks, and the date I'm going to put the 1st of December, and I'm going to add the expense. And yeah, it's getting tracked nicely. So it's showing all the expenses for December. Let me try that one more time with another merchant, maybe 1140. This time it's transport. Merchant is Uber, and that's also, let's say, the 1st of December. Right, cool. So it's nicely coming, and let's now add from text. So this time I'll just type it. So spend, let's say, $72.60 at Whole Foods on, um, let's say, on the second, to see what will happen. So I'm just being very vague here. I'm saying second. Let's see, the model has identified it as the 2nd of December. Yes, it has identified it as the 2nd of December. Obviously, so you know that it's showing December 2025. And I only said the 2nd, but now we are actually giving it context. We are saying the date today's date. So at the time of recording this, it's the 30th of December. And when I said second, it was able to identify, okay, I'm referring to the 2nd of December. There's a little, I don't know, this may be a problem with addition. There's probably some issue with the float or whatnot, but it's not a major issue. Um, but yeah, so all the expenses, so 72 plus 11, 83, 89, yeah, it's about $90.95. So cool. All right. So now I am going to, without typing it, I'm going to speak out the expense to see whether this works. So spent $39.99 at Amazon on the 3rd of December. Yep. And I'm going to add it. Yes, cool. So it's Amazon. It's actually a shopping expense. And I mean, this is a very simple expense tracker. We could even enhance it to add more categories. We can allow the user to define additional categories and all that, but we didn't go really there that side. You can try it out on your own. Please feel free to customize expense tracker as you wish. Right. And yeah, let me add a few more expenses. So $2.99 on Google Drive on the 3rd of December. Yep, add expense, right? Let's add some more. $15.8 at Chipotle on the 4th of December. Cool, so it's getting added to food. Right, so I'm going to add these expenses and I'm going to fast forward the video a bit because it is a bit it's boring. It's just some data that needs to be added. So I'll fast forward this and then we will go into the query of the expenses. Okay, so here we are. We've added all the expenses. We've added a month of expenses, and most of them were recorded as other, although I noticed that some were transport and some were food. It's a matter of, fine-tuning the prompt to identify categories. Sometimes when it's coffee, it maybe recognizes beverages and not food. So it goes into the other category. So it's a bit of a fine-tuning process over there. But all in all, the expense tracker works fine. It's decent and it's recording all the expenses. And I recorded a month full of expenses within like less than 5 minutes, right? By just speaking it into the microphone. So here we are, right? And now what we are going to do, this is the interesting part. This is the fun part, right? So it's not just tracking expenses, it's about understanding how our spending habits are, how we can improve savings, how we can cut down on unnecessary expenditure. So let's go ahead and, query the expenses. So I want to know, for example, what were my top five merchants by total spend in December 2025. So I'm going to search it. Let's see what happens. All right. Wow, look at this. So we've got a really cool analysis, not too lengthy as well. And it's showing us. So the total from the top five merchants, we had a huge one, $249.9 at the store, followed by $128 on a restaurant. This was actually the Christmas lunch, December 25th. I didn't mention a restaurant name, so that's why, but also it has recognized Zara. So it's showing us the top five. Maximum is there 249, and the category breakdown as well by these top five merchants. So the total actually for other is 1,376, but here it's showing only 933. So it's taken the top five or top 10. I'm not quite sure. They're showing showing it as 10 as the count here. So, and the trend analysis, it's saying that the spending increased towards the end of the month, which makes sense. It was the case actually in the data I entered, with significant expense on the last days as the holiday shopping peaked, and some key highlights as well can be seen. Um, Utility spending is steady with a notable expense at the end of the month. Okay, cool. So it's working fine. It has answered my query elegantly. What I wanted to know, I got to know, and maybe let's ask how much did I spend on food versus transport versus shopping. Let's see. So I'm asking, this is a more of a comparison analysis. I want to know what happened during this Christmas season. Okay. All right. So total expense in the food category amounted to $102.65 across 6 transactions. Transport was this much, and the average of food was so and so. Highest food expense was 41.75 from Uber Eats, and the highest from the transport expense was in rideshare 8.9, which is correct, which is absolutely correct. Shopping has not really been recorded, but it also makes sense because, well, we don't have a shopping category, it's in the other category. So maybe there was one expense which I had mentioned as Christmas shopping, I believe, was it? There was a gift shop, yeah. So a gift shop, Supermarket Express, all that. So I mean, I'm not sure that counts as shopping. It does, right? Yeah. But yeah, I just failed to. But I believe we would have gotten a better answer if we had a separate card, separate category for shopping as well. Because what we when we define these categories, it was on a very basic expense tracking level, basic expense tracker level categories. But this is fine. This works as well. Let's add another question. Let's ask maybe I want to know what my subscriptions are. So list all recurring subscriptions and their total cost. Let's see. So there was a Netflix one. There was Spotify. Okay, all right. So, well, okay, recurring. Maybe let me remove the recurring word and see. Let's see if the expense tracker is actually smart enough to identify Netflix and Spotify as subscriptions. Okay, it's showing as no recorded subscriptions, right? So, well, that's a bit of a bummer. I mean, in the end of the day, the model has access to the data. It's just not recognizing Netflix and Spotify. Maybe we need to be a bit more explicit when tracking the expenses like Netflix subscription and Spotify subscription. But otherwise, I'm sure it would have been recorded over here. So no trend analysis and no key insights. Okay, let's ask maybe one more question. So let's ask which category apart from other should I optimize to save, say, 10% next month? Oops, next month, search. So my guess is it would be either food or transport, but perhaps food. All right, so we've got a bit of a result, but it's talking about other instead. Well, I mean, that is a huge difference, right? Like when you consider these expenses, they are like negligible when compared to others. So maybe that's why it's still suggesting that I should optimize these shopping, these categories like the store and $299. I think that was Amazon. Again, shopping there as well, indicating a breadth of spending. Okay. But yeah, I mean, this looks good, right? We are getting some good analysis, and this is just for 1 month. Over time, obviously, when you add more and more expenses, the system, the model, the workers understand exactly what kind of person I am when it comes to spending, uh, and how my saving habits are and whatnot, right? So yeah, this is what we've built, right? This what you're looking at is a smart expense tracker that we built not using Python. We built the front end not using JavaScript. We used this completely solely this Chassis stack, which now where the programming language Jack supersets not just Python, it's supersetting JavaScript as well. And we are building the front end and the back end in one language, which is pretty cool in my opinion. So there's so much we can do. And if you were with me on this journey of building the smart expense tracker, you would have realized how easy it was to build this and how many few lines of code we were able to do this compared to using Python or popular frameworks like LangGraph or Creo AI. So, and it's just a simple ByLLM call. We define a semantic object, we define a function, and we just define our walk endpoints so easily to get this to work. So yeah, it's very cool, and I invite you to also try out your own projects using this stack, which is, I feel like we can build so many amazing applications using the Jasiki stack. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video series as much as I enjoyed making this for you. And please leave a comment on what you think I should try out next, any other projects I should build. And all in all, well, this is the last video of the series, and it's also going to be my last video for this year, 2025. It's the 30th of December. It'll be 2026 in 2 days at the time of recording. So wish you all a happy new year to those who are watching it in 2025. Thank you for all the support. It's been incredible. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the messages I've been getting on my personal handles. And yeah, I'll see you again in another video next year. Goodbye for now.